What is the mission of the World Music Foundation?
Short version of the mission is to end racism. A little bit longer version is we use music to build respect across cultures. I truly believe most of the racism in the world, I will say most, that's a bold claim, I think comes from ignorance, just from not experiencing, not having any real life interaction to combat the media that people ingest, that kind of insidious talk and jokes.
All right, thanks everyone for tuning into this episode. Today we have John Gardner, who is the Executive Director of the World Music Foundation. John, thank you so much for your time today.
Hey, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, and this one it hits close to home because as folks that are listening will learn, this organization is based right near my alma mater up on the north side of Chicago in Loyola. So we'll get into that. But before we do, what is the mission of the World Music Foundation?
Short version of the mission is to end racism. A little bit longer version is we use music to build respect across cultures. So we say opening mind through music, but everything is grounded in the belief, basically in the knowledge that a big chunk of racism and division in the world comes from just lack of exposure or choosing to get exposed to people that just don't look like you, don't come from the same backgrounds, don't have the same life experiences. So the way we combat racism is to make those opportunities available to people, hopefully make them super awesome for people, and bring people together to meet each other at events like these and just broaden the worldview.
Oh. And why is this a mission that you've taken up as your charge?
Number one, music is everything for me. I can't believe that I've gotten to do what I do. Since 2012 is when I founded this nonprofit. And that question is not one that I normally get asked. If I stop and think about it, I think I'm kind of uniquely positioned for this mission in that I look white very clearly. I'm actually half Mexican. I'm just as Latino as I am white. But growing up, in my high school, southwest part of Houston, white was not the majority by any means. A very small minority, and as far as numbers wise, in my high school, and I got jumped for that. I got called white boy. I got all sorts of things. Never internalized it. I think I'm just thankful to my parents, I guess, for that part. That it seemed ridiculous to me. Okay, you're going to judge me because what you even think, you're even wrong about it, which made it much easier for me to not internalize. If somebody yells at me like Trump lover or something like this, you did that based on what I look like, and that says more about you than it does about me. And then what added to this understanding of how ridiculous racism is, I went to college in East Texas, Nacogdoches, Texas, which is very white. So I had an opposite experience now where it is the very rural experience of interacting. Now I'm no longer like in the inner city. So now I'm experiencing country life, which was awesome also, but a lot of racism there too. And now I'm getting it from the other side. I'm hearing things to save money. I'm living out of a RV going to college. So I'm in this trailer park and I'm hearing about these apparent Mexicans that are doing all these horrible things. I'm like, wow, it's amazing. So I'd always time the reveal until I do something that really gets some respect for my work ethic, or they see that I'm out there hustling, I'm doing this. By the way, about this Mexican thing, I happen to be Mexican. Like, what? Okay, and they can always talk it away from not all Mexicans, right?
Like, you're only half Mexican, whatever they want to use to.
So when nobody ever wants to confront, you can always find, there's anomalies. You weren't talking like that. You were talking like every single person. So the idea of racism being much more about the person who's projecting it, a failing in that person's life. If I sit and think about it, that's the crux of why I founded this nonprofit and why I run it the way that I do. I know for a fact there's dyed in the wool trained racists. Unfortunate, but it's true. Somebody's life mission could be, let's just make sure people do not like this category, or that this race is lifted up to be the superior one. But I truly believe most of the racism in the world, I will say most, that's a bold claim, I think comes from ignorance, just from not experiencing, not having any real life interaction to combat the media that people ingest, that kind of insidious talk and jokes. You don't have anything to bounce it off. I was just laughing at a concert sitting next to somebody who was wearing a head turban, and we talked afterwards, and they were amazing. Like, that can't be right. Something to break down and give people these opportunities. So
Yeah.
I think that positioned me to do this type of work and do it in this way. And I think one of the things that makes us unique is that we don't have one culture that we're super promoting.
Yeah.
It's in this little spot right here close to Loyola, and this part of Chicago. We've had Chinese Erhu concert this a couple of weeks ago. We had Ghanaian griot, Ghanaian kora player from West Africa. We have Honduran music coming up in just 2 weeks. Stuff from all over the world, Mississippi blues musician. So seeing that if you can bring people in, maybe for their culture, it's just natural for us to come in for your own culture. And then I always say, come for maybe the Snoop Dogg and then stay for the Willie Nelson, or vice versa, wherever your frame of reference is. Bring them in for one and connect them with another. And we've measured it. We know we're having an impact in the world and a success. But
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So I feel like a similar argument of bringing people together could be made for food, for art, for travel. Why music for you? What kind of made music be the connective tissue that you chose?
So food, I'm very passionate about. If it was a full body view, you'd see and believe me even more. But honestly, it comes from a feeling just of music igniting so much in the brain, in the memories, in the emotions. I could tell you like the science behind it, that lullabies from almost all cultures can be recognizable, love songs can be, but it was a personal experience with me. So we're located right now in Chicago, but we've always run our offices from the same type of Edgewater, but I used to bring artists out into the world. So we're here now, but we used to do school visits and concerts and presentations in Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Hong Kong, Ireland, Denmark, India. I know I'm missing some, but all over the world. But I was in India bringing a musician, and Indian classical music is objectively some of the most advanced music on the planet. We don't hear about it much in the West, especially even like in universities and high-level music studying schools. We could think it's like some secret racist plan. Don't tell them how great India is. Honestly, the music teacher's music teacher just doesn't know anything about it. So they don't bring it up. But I'm there, I'm seeing they're improvising in 7 3/4 time. They're playing for these complicated raga and scales. And somebody notices I have a harmonica in my pocket. I'm not being humble. I'm not a good musician. Like, people are like, "Oh, you must be good at all these instruments, man." I play the laptop. I make sure great musicians get heard, not me.
Yep.
I did not want anybody to see that I had a harmonica in my pocket. They would not let me go. They were like, "Play something, play something." I was like, "I'm going to play something. Just get off my back. Here it comes." All right. So I'd been listening to these people playing their instruments, talking to each other, literally didn't speak the language. I'm in the corner. I play not even a full 12 bars of blues. I just play something, and it's just dead silent. And I'm like, I'm thinking in my head, I told you, like it was not that much to write home about. All of a sudden, everybody in the room just starts cheering, and not just cheering, they're coming up to me and they're hugging me and they're like, "Oh, that's amazing." Someone's trying to translate, tell me
Wow.
what they think they heard. Oh, this sounds like Rag Bilabal, and we have a raga like this and that. You hear all the time, like, oh, music can bring people together and it's the universal language. I know no Hindi. I know a little Bengali now just from going so many times, but literally we were in outside of Delhi, no understanding of the language, but we were connected. We were connected. I literally came home. That was actually before I was formally a nonprofit.
Mm.
And so that I've been around since 2012. We've been as the World Music Foundation, but I came home and Googled how to start a nonprofit. And
Yeah.
that's where it started because I knew that could bring people
Wow.
together.
Wow. That's a powerful story, and I didn't know that much about music in India as well, about how complex it is. Yeah, I
That's
haven't been exposed to it. Yeah.
exactly. And it just comes from lack of exposure. At this time, I hadn't even officially formed a nonprofit. I was doing the work in the world. The idea was to expose people to as many different cultures or cultures outside of their own. So in India, for them, it would be the blues. But I was not bold enough to think that I would be a one to expose anybody to the blues because that would not be a great representation of that. But I was there just managing a tour, and before a show, there's probably 6, 7 people getting ready to do the show, and amazing, just actual genius musicians. And somebody notices that I have a harmonica in my pocket, and the last thing I want to do is interrupt this amazing music that I'm hearing with my lowly harmonica. Nothing against the harmonica, but against the harmonica player. I'm not the one for it. So I'm like, no, it's okay. It's okay. Can't speak the language, but I'm just motioning. No, it's okay. They keep on me about it. Oh yeah, play. They call it a mouth organ in India. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play a little bit just to end this. I start playing. I don't even get through 12 bars of blues. I just play a little bit, checking out, stop, dead silent in the room. I knew it. I'm like telling myself, like, obviously, I told them nothing to see here. They start cheering. They aren't just cheering, they're coming up to me, they're hugging me. They're like, we are family at that time. There's somebody's
Wow.
coming up trying to explain that they hadn't heard the blues before, but to them, they filtered it through. I think it was Rag Bilabal. Somebody's trying to explain, like, oh, we have this Rag Bilabal. It was so moving that why are you even interested? If my playing could enamor them to, nobody was paying me any attention. I was just this strange American guy in the corner, literally couldn't speak the language. And then that bonded us. So you can hear on paper like, oh, it's a universal language and music unites, but seeing that, feeling that, I just had the feeling that if I could replicate this with much better musicians than myself and be intentional about reaching places that, because we don't hear about music like this from India, from Indian classical music, or we don't hear about this thousands of year old musical traditions from Africa and different places. If I can give this, it sounds corny, man, but we can change the world. I know we can because you're changed from that. So
Yeah.
I came home. That was probably like 2010 or 11 because the World Music Foundation was founded in 2012. I came home and I literally Googled how to start a nonprofit. I had no idea. Years later, now we've been to all these countries around the world. We've studied what we do. That theory's been hashed out. It took years and years before we can get it measured, but probably don't have time to go into the whole thing. But we've measured the impact of even a 1 hour exposure to music outside of a culture they've had experience with, and it
Mm.
increases cultural empathy, it decreases intolerance, and this effect doesn't just stay. It was through Likert scale testing, pre and post intervention, just letting them experience this music and live events, and that effect lasts for years.
Yeah.
So we know we're changing the world. We haven't studied anything what we're doing here in this little space, but I've seen the faces. I know what we're doing.
Wow.
So,
That was going to be one of my questions actually is how measuring the impact, because I feel like there's like the passive impact, because then you started with your mission to end racism, but I feel like that's like a downstream impact. You don't lead with that. You lead with, let's bring some folks together and experience different music and let's see what happens.
exactly. So
Yeah.
when I had the idea to start the nonprofit, I very naively thought it's exposure. That's all we need. So I thought, go to the schools, go to the music teachers, and explain to them, hey man, guess what? Nothing against you, but you have probably fostered, at least, let's say, we don't got to say racist, a Western centric mindset. Because I started giving these surveys to music students, not just all students, but from high school to university, including music conservatories. And I'd put in survey questions. First, were like, can you learn from, are you similar to students in other countries as you? I got as far as, is non-Western music primitive? And like a disturbing number of people were like, yeah, it's pretty primitive. The safer one is the music in the US and Europe the most advanced in the world? They're like, oh, yeah. And then you give them this exposure and they're like, oh, yeah, not the most advanced in the world. Okay, yeah, we can learn from other people. This is amazing. But I thought if I just tell the music teachers, like, just take 1 hour out of your program. I know music teachers are super busy, but let's do this. It became too personal, I'm pretty sure, is the fact. It has to be, because they'd be almost defensive about the idea. Oh, no, we're not doing that. We expose them to everything. Okay, great, but how about let's do this? So I learned to stop bringing up anything about opening minds, racism, increasing in cultural empathy, any of that. I'm just like, hey, you want to take a break from just all the important stuff you're doing and just do. And
Have
then
a jam sesh or listen to a jam sesh.
Yeah. Bring in a incredible artist from another culture, and that made it more accessible. And once I was able to start reaching more students, then I had the data that I could start. We've been every state in the US countless times, every province in Canada, most provinces in Australia, not just 1 or 2 times, just over and over. And then we've gone to the same schools over and over. So getting to see that the students, out of a 350 piece band, we exposed only 50 students from a 350 piece band. This was in Williamsburg, Virginia, Jamestown High School. And out of those 50 students, more culturally empathetic, less intolerant, all the statistically significant changes you'd want. But then we followed them for 4 years, and it continues to show that had an impact in their lives.
Planting a seed that the trajectory is completely altered, probably.
And then if it's changed theirs, I know it's changed their brothers or sisters, their parents. So now that we're in one place, sometimes it can feel like, are we affecting the whole world? I know we're affecting the world. And I know especially in a place like Chicago and Edgewater, it's pretty transient, right? People come for university. They come for when they have the families and move out to the suburbs, or you look at the data, they're moving to Texas, they're moving to Wisconsin, places that I don't mind seeding more and more of this open-mindedness, but it starts right here. So we haven't measured yet here with our programming, but here it's been much more about, are we making an impact in that we see people who maybe come so we did a celebration of Black motherhood. So you can imagine, and I told the team, the natural audience would be Black mothers. But if we look across this audience and it's only Black mothers, we have failed, because we're building respect across cultures. We need Black mothers to know they are celebrated here and respected. Also, who needs to respect Black mothers the most? Non-mothers, non-females, non-Black people. That's who we need to reach. Very happy with the very diverse turnout, and then to see people coming back, and now they're experiencing Chinese music, and they're experiencing other things outside of their culture and previous exposures. And we hear from people all the time, I knew nothing about this music. Eventually, as people find out more and more about us, they'll trust the awning outside instead of the program. You go to the symphony hall, you're not like, oh, I want to make sure they're doing a Schubert. Oh, what's on the menu? You just want to go to a symphony show, and you trust it's going to be a great symphony. People don't know it yet, but there is world-class music and events going on right here in our little storefront. So the more trust we have in that regard, the more people will be open to be like, let me just show up and see how awesome it is. And they'll experience more and more of the world.
I think that from my experience, music as well, it has, and I have a couple examples, like one very recent, I guess, ish example is a lot of times I take a lot of Ubers for work, and I have a Spotify playlist where I add songs or artists that I ask the Uber driver, like, what's your favorite artist?
Exactly, yes.
And then I pull it up on my phone, add it to the playlist, and it's like, there's some bangers from all over the world.
I'm telling you, man. That's a great way to do it. I do the same thing for food. I do exactly that. Say, tell me your favorite artist. Tell me your favorite place to eat in the area. Absolutely. Yeah. That's awesome. That is so cool you do that.
Yeah, and it's definitely broadened my mind to so many different artists and cultures that I'd never expected. Yeah, it's been great. So the future, what are some, you and I spoke almost a year ago now at this point, and we're finally getting things going and doing this interview. Talk to me about what the future plans are you have for the organization.
So I've been saying we've been around since 2012. A big change from when we spoke last time is that we're now speaking to you from our storefront, public facing. We have our own little venue. We've only had that for 1 year. So that's why I'm speaking in future tense of the awareness of the neighborhood, of the city, the region, the nation. We're still learning it, which is super exciting for me because I feel like after doing it for so long all over the world, number one, it is way easier to manage one place than all the international visas, all the booking gigs, all this. So this is much easier, but also we're getting to go deeper and deeper with the neighborhood. So we're going to continue planning. We just found our rhythm is probably going to be the last Sunday of every month. We're going to have a cultural concert. We're building in usually about halfway in the month. We're going to do more of a social event also. We have a community singing coming up in November. And we had one recently for resilience. For the one thing we can unite over is we all agree it's crazy times. Even if we agree we can't agree why it is. Maybe we have different beliefs in that. We all know we're feeling something. So we came together and we sang and we had somebody lead us where we could just learn on the spot orally. So we're going to do more of that. We're going to start celebrating more holidays and traditions, that sort of thing. We have a pop-up restaurant coming. I'm telling you, this food thing's been big. Here's something new, fresh off the presses. What? Are you kidding me?
Is that a branded hot sauce?
That is a branded hot sauce because this is where the flavor is right there.
Yeah, I mean,
any way we can bring people together.
Yeah, the next thing that brings people together after music usually is food.
It's food, 100%. I'm telling you.
Wow.
We're on it. So those are things we're up to over here.
Yeah, and people that are listening, especially people in the Chicago area, of course, you guys are global, but in Chicago area and globally, where could they find you and learn more about the events that are coming up? So
usually it hits social media first. We update our website, theworldmusicfoundation.org, and click on events or do /events. And we post up there. Instagram, really it's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok are our main platforms that we post on. A newsletter, we're starting to get in a groove that we sell out, which is a good thing, but people don't cancel their tickets. I mean, they're free. I say sell out. Everything we do is free because we don't want that to be a barrier. But people reserve it and they're not releasing their tickets. So we're trying to think of a way of how to reach people who really want to come and build the community. Sneak preview, we might be like giving advance notice to our newsletter subscribers. Because once it goes on Facebook or Instagram or places, it's just it's out
fills
there.
Up quick.
No putting it back in the bottle. So actually following our email newsletter is actually becoming a thing. But yeah, all the social media platforms, we're just the World Music Foundation. Easy to find.
Wow. Is there anything else that you want to share that we missed or that you want to highlight before we wrap it up?
No, and I want to thank you for what you're doing. The whole concept of finding a cause is something that's been on my mind a lot lately, just for what it does for how you live your life. Community
Yep.
and loneliness right now is such an epidemic, and immersing yourself in a reason. That's what a
Hmm.
cause is. You're affecting change, and it is hard work. If it's not hard work, you probably don't have the best cause, because there's so many that really need the work. So if people are gonna come, of course, get involved with us or support us anyways, we love it. We need it. It's an exciting time for us. But just, I'd love for your listeners just to be encouraged by all the great organizations that you have on here, and just find something to dedicate your time to. Serving the greater good sure makes it a lot easier to endure when times are tough, like right now.
Yeah, and people that are listening, that where music has had some sort of profound impact in your life, even just showing up for an event and seeing how it goes and seeing how it feels, like that's a huge step. So anything and everything counts at this point. So absolutely.
Yeah. Everybody wants to talk about there's so many societal effects of social media. We're living our life online, and you don't have to. There's free events right here. There's free events all over. We're in the city of Chicago, at least, very fortunate, but in a lot of places, get out to live music. And while you're there, maybe between acts or before it starts, look next to you, see who you're sitting next to, and be the weirdo that just be like, hey, what's up? What brought
Yeah.
you out here? The smallest question can just start a conversation. It can start a friendship. We've already seen friendships form here of both the most unlikely pairs, and that's what it's all about, especially as somebody who's mixed race like this, where I keep telling people, we do our job right. So we're going to start, two people are going to meet, fall in love, start a family right here. And it's going to be just one of these beautifully mixed, diverse families, and we'll spread that into the world too.
Yeah. Well, John, thank you so much for your time here on a Monday night. I really appreciate it. And we're honored to hear your story and to share it. Thank you again, and best of luck, and we'll be cheering you on here.
Thanks for what you do, Joseph. Have a great one, man.
Thank you.
See you.